Word to the wise, Tommy Mims. This ain't one of those quick joints. This is a conversation. This is a conversation I'm trying to have, right? Um, some people require to hear what success is 100,000 different ways to actually start to obtain it. And what that means is we're looking for that trigger word, right? And that trigger word is in our stored conscious. That's our subconscious in the Western philosophy. In Buddhist philosophy, it's your stored conscience. So we're looking for like that trigger word to say to us: get up, go, run, do it, don't stop, keep working, be consistent, right? And some people have a language attached to their stored conscious where it's like you'll hear words like success or wealth connected to the statement or the phrase, and then they ready to go. They good. We operate differently mentally, and that derives from our implicit thoughts, right? Those thoughts that we have in our head. And I want to talk about implicit thoughts on another level though than that, because that is usually where mental health really lies, right? Like in our implicit thoughts, when we allow the thought that should go in one and out the other, we allow it to stay. It won't go out. It won't. And because we get confused, we get distorted about why are we having this thought? Why are we having these feelings? Even feelings of anger towards people we don't even know. Somebody might bump us and we say, I'm angry. That's the self-awareness that you say, I'm angry. And then your anger, you're dealing with the anger of having it. Why are you having it? Why is this person triggering you? Why did this bump trigger you? Why didn't you apply all of the other coping skills to say, this was an accident, it wasn't intentional, this person could not know that they've been walking, I could forgive this person. Like all of those things, they shut down because you don't allow the thought to manifest itself through. You hold on to it. And that's when thoughts really start to eat us up. And we got to figure out where those thoughts derive from. The thing is, it's the lineage of those thoughts is so long and crucial that we don't even know. Women are God. That's not my opinion. That's a fact, right? Women are God. So as a woman connects to every living form that they have brought into this world in some capacity, those connections are also connected to that stored mind, to that subconscious, those implicit thoughts. And sometimes those implicit thoughts that manifest in our dreams, in our thought, they go into the bodies of their children. In the the placebo and all of that, the connected, the urethra or something, I don't know, whatever, the part that's connected to the baby. That's the part that's information is going into these babies' minds, and these babies are dreaming and they're having these thoughts, and they're uncertain of where they come from. They're uncertain on how to get rid of them. And then they are also validated based on the interaction they're having with their parents. Sometimes those thoughts are validated, negative ones and positive ones. That's why it's important for you as a parent to be cognitive of those implicit thoughts that you have and how they are in your children, and how it's important for you to reinforce the positivities and to stay as far away from those other implicit thoughts that you yourself don't want to be a part of, that you yourself question why they are there, why they are there. But those implicit thoughts, as I'm saying, it's so generational that it goes back to back. It continues. Like, you give them to your children, your mother gave them to you, your mother's mother gave them to you, your mother's mother gave them to you, your mother's mother's mother gave them to you. And that's where it's important to really analyze, right? Like, really analyze the origin of where your community, right, at large were, what they've experienced, and to be clear that that does affect you. Be clear that it affects you. It affects you in a troubling way, because knowing that, you know, you derive from a family, right, where you have this kingship to, right, this queenship to, this is promoted, and not like you can't you can see it, I guess, in history books in some capacity, right? And like, if you do your due diligence, I'm not talking about school history, but like, you know, with some due diligence, you can obtain some information. You know, knowing, you know, as blacks, you know, we derive from Egypt. You know, that's where the pharaohs are. That's where the kings are, the queens are. That's where the gold is, the diamonds and the oils are. So, you know, the way Americans have connected those items to wealth, or as aspirations of wealth, and form using them as what do they call it? Barter to obtain wealth. So we would say that's what wealth derives, right? So obviously we would say we were kings and queens in some capacity, right? Even if there was nothing documented to say so, right? We would say that's where the information speaks for itself. But after that time period, there was an extensive period where the mind was destroyed, where the mind was beaten, bruised, abused, and our thoughts of carnage, rage, frustration, murder inevitably comes from those feelings of abuse, right? When you were being abused daily, you were seeing your people abused daily, your peers, your community abused daily, your children murdered, raped, fed to dogs, your people hung, right? You build a carnage in you, right? You built cartilage as well that blocks other emotions, right? Block other feelings, and in doing so, that's the survival technique, right? As well as, you know, using that anger as a survival technique. And I'm saying all of this because this is very important, because you got to really reflect on who you are as a person. You got to really reflect on why you do the things you do, the way you do them. You know, whether it's business, you know, is it aggressive, and does it have to be, right? Our perception is that it might have to be, because societally we believe that it needs to be aggressive, right? Like, there's nothing sweet or soft about business that we might believe, right? We might not believe that it's fair to exchange with kind words, and not to use capitalism as a ploy to get the leg up on somebody. I hope y'all still with me. I'm really not going on a tangent. But what I was saying, it's important to really reflect on, those histories, because those histories really trailblaze the way you act, the way you engage, the way you believe, the way you view the world that you live in. Yeah, I'm basically saying the way you see the world was already designed for you to see the world the way you see it. Because those centuries of abuse have led to implicit thoughts of permanent thinking, right? That now, how do I get to a space? And this is not just for people, this is not just for, for those who have been enslaved. This is for those who are doing the slave thing. This is for those who are enslaving people. This is for you too. This is for you to really identify, your history and why you interact the way you interact. Why you see the world the way you see the world, and why you engage the world the way you engage the world. When knowing that there is an opportunity for you to engage the world differently, both parties. And this is why I say it's so important to really get that conversation going, right? Like, I don't really know the cool word for like people addressing their mental health, right? To make somebody be like, yo, let me go talk to them about that. I want to have that conversation, because then the correlation to it is dealing with the psychosis, right? Because of the history correlated to mental health, right? But the understanding behind it for me is that mental health, just like you would say physical health, like, it's important for you to go to the gym, you will believe. If you go to the gym or work out at home, you believe your physical health is important, because you have to be able to you have to be able to put one foot in front of the other foot. You have to be able to walk up one flight of stairs to the next flight of stairs. You got to be able to run with your family members, of your children, if you have any. You got to be able to use your hands to put them up and put them down. You got to, you know what I mean? You got to be agile, right? Why I am so focused on the mental part of this all is because you have to be able to, you have to trigger your body to want to walk. You have to trigger your body to want to move. You have to trigger your body to want to do anything. You can be the most physically fit person, but if your mind ain't right, your body's stuck and still. You'll squander in a room for days not eating if your mind ain't right. I have a lot I wanna talk about, but I'm not gonna overwhelm y'all with too much of this conversation. I'm definitely gonna have more of this conversation because I believe it's important. I believe it should be shared, and I believe that I should trigger the mind. I should trigger the mind to think, to assess and reevaluate the way it interacts at this moment with itself and with other people. Be kind to yourself. Love yourself. We love you. I'm out.